How long does the foreclosure process take in New York? In this video, we're going to cover everything about the length of time it takes to foreclose on a property in New York. Now, we're going to go over a couple of items here. First of all, we're going to talk about a tax lien or a tax deed foreclosure in New York. And we're going to talk a little bit about normal foreclosures. I think it's important to bring up both of those. Now, I'm assuming that you are the one that's foreclosing on the property with this. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I can tell you, lenders in New York, I'd be very cautious of that, okay? It is really difficult to get somebody out of a property that owes you money on that. Those of you in New York that own property right now at this very moment are saying, duh, okay? I'm just telling you that up front. There's a spoiler alert, okay? You don't want to lend on properties in New York, and you'll see some of the reasons why. But we'll talk about New York as a whole, a tax deed market. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I have to get a tablet. There's so many things going on here, okay? But you're gonna be really well versed on this by the time we get done, okay? Now, nice thing about it is, stick around to the very end. I got a little bonus. I got a double bonus if you like it, or a thumbs up. Just hit the little button. It didn't take any effort at all to do that. That helps the algorithms of the universe of YouTube. If you lend money to somebody for a piece of property and you're the bank and they fail to pay their mortgage payment or lien payments or whatever it is that you lent that money to, yeah, good luck, okay? And you'll see this in a minute. If I'm foreclosing on a property due to delinquent property taxes, you've eliminated 90% of this stuff in here. It's kind of one of those things, I'm trying to be delicate here because this is one of the reasons I don't own rental property in California. I just went out, I made money, my hard-earned money, and I get a piece of property, and if somebody made an agreement to pay me to use the property, they failed that agreement, yet I gotta go through this. This is some of the reasons that I wouldn't do that. So a pre-foreclosure stage in New York, a minimum of 90 days, okay? The process starts when the homeowner has missed mortgage payments, usually 90 days or more. That means you haven't been getting any income from this property for 3 months before you can even start the process on it. But yet it says in the contract, they gotta make payments every single month. Then there's a 3 to 6 month, depending on how quickly the borrower responds to seek a solution. So then you have to go through a whole process of, hey, what's the solution? I got a solution. Pay the effing money. How do you do that, And again, get me a little irritated because I work hard for this. I do a lot of great things for my tenants. I make sure that I have happy tenants, so you have happy, tenants. They got nice property that they can live in. They don't need to worry about things, and they'll pay for many years. But when you got looking at some of this stuff here, this is crazy. I mean, I have never really done any in New York for clarity, but there's a reason why. This is it's not nearly as bad. California is not nearly as bad as New York, but it's up there. So there's a duration of 2 to 6 months, depending on whether the homeowner contests the foreclosure. If they contest the foreclosure, it can take even more than 6 months before it goes there. There's a motion for summary judgment or judgment of foreclosure. This is 6 to 12 months. This is 6 to 12 months. We're 6 to 12 months into this whole thing. Okay, and then there's a foreclosure auction and sale, which can be another 1 to 3 months. Now we're at the 6 to 12 month process. And then there's a post-eviction process where the homeowner is usually given a short period, typically 10 days, to vacate the property. Key factors that influence the foreclosure timeline: court backlogs. The high volume of foreclosure cases in New York courts can cause delays. I've got a brand new course on all the tax liens and everything down below there. You're gonna go to higginsmethod.com. I'll also put all this information down in the description. There's a lot of it here, several pages. The homeowner can file legal defense, counterclaims request against the adjournment or appeal. There's a lot going on in New York. Now, here's the cool part about New York. Let's just talk about the tax deed part of it. Because New York is a tax lien, tax deed state. It's what I call a dual state. If you buy a tax lien in New York, you're not going to do any in the boroughs. Those go to corporate sales on that. There's just a lot of funny business going on in the boroughs. But you go up to Nassau County and some of the, up in Rochester and stuff like that, there's some great sales up there. If you buy a tax deed in the state of New York, you've eliminated 90% of what I just talked about. They've been delinquent for 4 to 5 years anyways. All of this stuff they could have done. Isn't it funny how the county or state, if you will, takes a different opinion and a different tact if it's their money? Okay, if it's my money and I lent the person the property and they don't pay, you got to do it. I think they even talk like that. Ooh. But if it's their money, they're like, oh, no, you missed this. But in all reality, it's kind of fair because they haven't paid for 4 to 5 years. So the county's like, enough's enough. We kind of need this money. What you're going to do with a situation like that is just go through the process. It's about a 60 to 90 day process, very similar to the rest of the country. You'll send out all the notifications. Here's the most important thing. You need to contact somebody that is familiar with tax deed foreclosures, okay? Let me give you an example. I had somebody that didn't start the tax, they bought a tax deed and they needed to clear title on the property. All they were doing was looking to get title insurance, not clear title on the property. So all of a sudden they come along, they get a buyer on this property. It was a great deal. They would have made well over probably $120,000 on this one deal, but they were in the process of insuring the clouded title rather than cleaning up the clouded title. So the buyer comes in and goes, well, wait a second, I don't want an insured title. I want to make sure these people go away. Well, that was another 4-month process. So they call me up and go, I didn't realize. I go, you guys, there's 2 different things here. There's clearing title and there's insuring title. You insured the title. It's great. That's fantastic. But you already own the house. So what you need to do is clean the title, unclear the title. So some of the things that you'll see, not necessarily in New York, but you could, in other parts of the East Coast where there's really old property, like this has got 200 plus, maybe 300 years of information on this title. You'll see somebody come up to sale and not, the individual, but the county will say, listen, the county or the property owner is trying to clear title on this property. Nobody bid on this property. They're just going through the legal procedures. So nobody bids on the property. It comes up, they sold, which allows them free reign to go ahead and clear title on the property because nothing survives a tax deed sale. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. Let's say that there was, 20 acres back in the Civil War or whatever, the Revolutionary War. Literally, it can go back that far. And, they divided the property, and they divided the property, and they divided the property, and this is the one that's left. The family is going, God, this is such a mess every time we go to sell the property. What should we do with this property? That could be a reason that somebody goes in there and says, hey, let's just bring it to sale. It's a pretty radical move, but I've seen it actually quite often. I mean, look, there's a lot of things to know. I'm not dissuading you from buying tax deeds in New York. It's a great market. I am dissuading you from owning a property, then selling it, and being the bank financing on it. Let the banks deal with that because it's a nightmare to go through the foreclosure process if it's not a tax deed. Look, there's a lot of information. You want to make sure you know what you're doing. You know what the good news is? Go down to higginsmethod.com, down in the descriptions, down below. Click on that. I've got a brand new course that shows you this and many other markets out there. It's my gift to you just for sticking around and watching this whole thing. This is Saen Higgins saying God bless and good luck. We'll see you out there.